My name is Robert Gregory, and I'm the CEO of the Australian Jewish Association. Welcome to everyone who's watching live on Zoom and on Facebook Live, as well as those listening to the recording on YouTube and J-Air Community Radio. Tonight, as I mentioned, is a very special Zoom. We are honored to host Rita Yedid, better known as Wonder Rita, a woman whose life embodies resilience, courage, and transformation. On October 7, 2 years ago, Rita's life was forever changed when she survived the tragic attack at the Nova Festival. That moment tested her in unimaginable ways, but it also revealed within her a strength that she didn't even know existed. The strength that now fuels her mission to inspire and bring hope into the lives of others. As we mark the 2-year anniversary of the day, please join me in welcoming Rita to share her story, her healing journey, and her vision. Thank you, everyone. And if anyone has questions, we will have some time at the end, so please raise your hand with the raise button. But over to you, Rita.
Hi, and good evening to all of you. Wow. Hi, I didn't think I will expect that many people, so thank you very much. We are right here on October 7th, just realizing it literally happened 2 years ago. 2 years ago, yesterday at this time, I was, ready to die and not be even in the idea of being here in front of you in a Zoom like this, in a position of being called survivor, as well as my grandma, who is a Holocaust survivor, and my mom, who was running away from the pogroms in the Soviet Union, and now me. It's unique and weird at the same time. So I hope I will be able to transform to you a little bit of what went in those 2 years. October 7th, I realized that I completely surrendered and understand why it happened to me. I will share with you that my trauma, everything I went through, I think went back to when I was dancing, when I was a little girl. So you can see here on the screen on the left side, me dancing when I was 6 years old at school. And then in the middle, when I was 12 years old and it's time for bat mitzvah and bar mitzvah, we had very special events at school. And even on the right, this is me dancing in a festival in New York when I was 25 years old. So really, all my life, I was loving dancing. And on October 7th, I went dancing with my husband, Guy, and my young sister, Eden. And all three of us, thank God, came back home to our mom, where unfortunately the same setup. There is a mother in Israel that both of her daughters and her son-in-law were murdered at the music festival. So that's something that is always a reminder for me. And this is my beautiful son, in the picture. So the music festival, I don't know how many of you go to music festivals and you love dancing. So this type of music festival is really not one of a kind in Israel, but it is great because 4,000 people are coming and DJs from all over the world. And I know it sounds crazy, but yes, only 4 kilometers away from the Gaza Strip. Well, truly, when I went to the music festival, I didn't know how close I am to Gaza, okay? I want you to look at how a festival in Israel looks like, okay? We had everything really in order. It's not that anyone who wanted to come could enter, right? We had 2 stages. You can see in the front and in the back. You can see all the guarded location, right? With black fences all around. There was so much police and security officers and the cars. If we all remember 2 years ago, the pictures of cars standing in a traffic jam Just imagine 4,000 people trying to run away at the same time. Really not easy. The main stage is the one you see in the farther left. That's the main stage. We had 2 stages to make it really less than 24 hours, the most memorable night and day. And what I want to take you now to the next slide is take you to those last minutes of everything that happened at the Nova. The last minutes we had fun, the chaos that happened right after. So if you have speakers, this is the time to turn them on. Okay, and I will go to the next slide.
Just to note, the audio is not coming through on this one either.
Yeah. All right, we can see here that after we have been dancing, the DJ screams at the mic, red alert, Tseva Adom, and asking the whole crowd to just leave the space. And you need to understand, guys, that those moments when the sky turned completely black and you just hear the explosion of the rockets in the sky, one after one, and really hundreds of them at the same time. It wasn't an ordinary morning. But at those moments, what you see here, this is around 7 a.m. This is how it was left behind. Everyone were just running for their life, wanting to go back home. 1 second, sorry. Everyone wanted to go running home, calling their parents, understanding where are they leaving the site at all. Just take a second, for it to sink. You know what? Let's even close our eyes for just like a moment and take a deep breath. I want you to go to that moment. Maybe it happened to you sometime in life that you were in the most joyful place, a wedding, a festival, just a birthday party, and everyone is laughing and joyful. I'm sure you have a moment like this. And then imagine suddenly someone is coming in unexpected and screaming at you that you need to run away and get shelter and go home. That's something that as a human being, just ordinary, it's hard to do, right? But just imagine that most of us were either super high on just being joyful from dancing throughout the whole night, or even if people took something and substances and alcohol. I just woke up at 4 a.m. I am a young mother. I had a 2-year-old. I wanted to sleep few hours and then go and dance throughout the morning. And when the sun rises, that's so beautiful. And then you have to start taking responsibility over your life. And guess what? The diversity of people that needed to take control right away, like people who are 21 just off the bat from the army, or people in between jobs, or someone that just had a fight with their mother or sister. There were even grandparents at this festival, young parents like me, like who is expecting to just throw everything and realize you are driving home now, but also standing in a traffic jam when you have rockets, it's really bad. So what we see in the video in front of us, it's actually the ticket booth of the entrance. That was the main entrance. You can see that at 7:17 a.m., a lot of people run away, but there is also a lot of people who decided to stay around the area and maybe wait for the rockets to stop. And that's exactly what we planned to do. We wanted to stay just at the open space, because when there is rockets, there is no point of sitting in the car, right? And being afraid a rocket will fall over your head. But right at that time, guys, a guy started running in front of us and screaming that his brother got shot outside of the music festival. And my sister Eden, 22 at the time, and maybe 23 at the time, she was scared and she asked us to go to the back stage, right, where we see the yellow dumpster. You see the ticket booth in the front, okay, and then we go all the way to the back where the yellow dumpster is. And this is where we had in the beginning the police and the ambulance and all the people that can help and be there for us. And as soon as we arrived to the back, I believe it was quarter to 8 a.m., the first thing we see in front of us is two girls being escorted from the main road with bullet holes all over their body. I think that looking at girls younger than me, same age, screaming for their life, to be saved, was so hard. And I froze at that moment. My way of dealing with the situation was just being in shock. My shoulders went up to my ears, and I was shaking and afraid. And my husband guy decided to take me and my sister back to the ticket booth. So from the back of the stage, we decided to run to that ticket booth you see on the screen that had 5 windows on each side and a metal door. And this is us at 8 o'clock in the morning, already calling our family and saying we are okay, we are safe, we are, hiding. We had 3 more guys we not familiar with joining us. I'm sitting here with the hat, my sister right after me, and my husband guy with the green shirt. By 9:30 a.m., Allah Akbar and Idbach al Yahud, it's the only thing I've heard. Screams everywhere of men and women. And I'm telling you, that was the scariest moment ever because I felt like they are invading my body. They were so many and they were screaming it so hard. And in Israel, that Allah Akbar, Idbach al Yahud, is not a good sign when you hear it getting close to you. And at 9:30 a.m., they were spraying our caravan from the right to the left. And unfortunately, this is us laying there after bullets were entering our caravan. My husband was hit with 3 bullets on the left side of his body while he was laying on top of me. I'm laying right under him because he wanted to protect a mother to go back to a beautiful boy who was 2 years old at the time. My sister is behind me in the left picture, full of blood of a guy she doesn't even know, and she's holding his head, such a young age, and because he was hit in his both knees. Definitely crazy moments laying there like this from 9:30 a.m. Understand that we were hurt and no one looking in the window. No one is looking in the window, guys. This is crazy. It's unbelievable that something took their sight away. Something took their sight away. They didn't look inside a window. And we are there with our phones, taking pictures, sending messages to our family, begging anyone we know to send help. And this picture at 11:30 a.m., you see me with my braids that I did for the festival, holding my husband's wound. My sister is right here in front of us. And right at that time, finally, someone is looking at us through the window. And I was sure that was a security guard. So I asked him, security? But he was like, no, money, money, telephone, telephone. It was the Gazan that walked for 4 kilometers to rob us, to take all our belongings. And, I gladly gave it to him just for me to stay alive. We all prayed for him, please leave us alone. But from 11:30 a.m., all we had to do is just pray or beg God to keep us alive, because I think that when everything is taken away from you and you have no connection with the outside world and your husband is wounded and your sister is scared next to you, I think that right at that moment, this was the time for me that I chose to surrender, like completely surrender, because you can't lay down and be shaking anymore. You have no more pee to pee on yourself. And when I surrendered completely, I realized that I'm falling asleep or I'm disconnecting, but I wasn't in connection to the people around me. I don't know for how long. But at 2 p.m. sharp, when I opened my eyes, I heard Israeli soldiers saying at the mic, well, at the contact equipment, that they are 50 meters away, 20 meters away from somewhere. I rised up on my legs, and I don't know where I had this courage to stand up and have my hands up in the sky and scream that we are Israelis. And this is exactly how the soldiers arrived to take us out of that caravan. And, the first thing I did is hug the first soldier I opened the door to, and I asked to call my mom. I asked to call my mom and let her know that we are alive. And it happened right at the same second that we had to leave the caravan and run after the soldiers. And you can imagine how I'm calling my mother. I'm so happy that I'm alive. But right at the same time, I see so many bodies that are thrown everywhere in millions forms and shapes. And that moment of understanding that I was saved, but so many others didn't, it definitely brings the guilt. So I want you to see how the terrorists arrived in. So they came from the back, from the lower side of the picture. That was the road. They came in dressed like soldiers, shooting RPG at everywhere. After we were saved, and you can see how the line to the ticket booth is just completely straight. You can just come in and shoot an RPG straight at our ticket booth. I don't know how they missed us, really. We can see the yellow dumpsters on the side that unfortunately I had to walk through that dumpsters and see a lot of bodies all around it. And there is a survivor station where they put all of us in that tent together. And we were only 40 survivors. 40 survivors from the whole campsite. This is how it looked like inside and around, sorry, the area. We see Gal, the guy that was hit in both of her knees. This is how he was taken out from the caravan. We see my husband, Guy, already like completely losing it, and the soldier trying to find a vein. So many men was hit in so many areas. And this is how it looked like when we tried to come out. Imagine that being in a situation like this, and then you're waiting for someone to come and save you. It's okay that the soldiers arrived, but they didn't have a real option to take us out of the Nova Music Festival. 40 people. There is not enough cars. They didn't come with any, buses or anything like that. So a very special guy named Oren Laufer that was he lives just nearby, decided to take his own truck, leave his wife and 3 young kids at home, and come take us out of this horrible place. You can see in the arrows my sister and me with the braids and the two other guys that were hiding with us. Of course, at this time already, my husband and Gal, the other guy, already being taken out of the area straight to the hospital. Okay. This is it. This is my three. There is actually three amazing heroes in this picture. On the left, this is me and Oren Laufer, the guy that could have give away his own life just by saving more than 500 Nova survivors, which was amazing. My husband Guy that was laying on top of me and protecting me and almost losing his own life, and Keinar, which was the head of one of the units that just decided to leave everything and not wait for an order, and just go out and protect us. So as I said earlier, and I mentioned, staying alive definitely wasn't easy. It right away brings up all the guilt of why me, and it's hard because when you are living a space like this and then you're realizing that you are not the real story, like whole families were burned in the kibbutzim, and people were beheaded, and so many awful things. You feel sick to your stomach, and especially I will share that by 8 p.m. on October 7th, I was already breastfeeding my child. And I think that this reality check of between surviving something like this and being in such a situation, but then be a mother after all, because this is what I am, and so surreal. So even there, the guilt was rising of what I'm giving to my son. Is it right to give him milk or not? Is it the bond? You know, mothers, or Jewish mothers, we all feel guilty all the time, no matter what, right? So it was definitely present. Safe Heart was an amazing organization that just realized right away with the head of brain professor in the University of Haifa that decided that it's very important to take all the Nova survivors and give them the right therapy right away. And really, guys, if this is something that I want to share, is that I'm so proud of myself and all the people who pushed me to take therapy right away. Right away. Don't wait. Don't think you're strong. Don't think your mommy is going to help you. You need a therapist right away with everything that happened to us. And I don't know, I feel like with the latest events and our history, all Jews need a therapist like right away, as soon as we are, as soon as we arrive to the world, because there's so much to handle, and it's hard. So we decided as a family, having a therapist for each and one of us for 1 hour a week for free. Like, just take it, just take the therapy. My husband Guy and his 3 bullets, and me and our son, we decided to leave Israel right away, not to stay in Israel. We were afraid. We wanted some time away. And you see all these beautiful pictures that we took there. But unfortunately, those were very seldom moments, because most of the time we had no communication. We were very angry. We didn't know how to be compassionate to ourselves. So to be compassionate to each other with a 2-year-old, it's very hard away from home. We had a therapist that was recommended to us to treat us from far away and try to navigate us in this relationship, in this hard moments that my husband wants a lot of appreciation for laying on top of me and protecting me, and I need appreciation for giving him the space to heal and taking care of a little child and him. And Unfortunately, at the end of December, when we got back to Israel, our situation wasn't good. Our relationship just fell apart completely. And when there is one more argument that is on the top edge, and your therapist recommends you to get a divorce because you hate each other so much, you reach to a point where you're having a mental breakdown. And I think that by the end of January, even when I went to retreats and even when I was in therapy, there are also a lot of things that trauma brings with it. And it's just moments where you just fall apart completely. And I fell apart, and it happened in front of my in-laws because we were living under them. And I was running in front of a driving car. I really, really wanted to end it. And I don't recommend anyone to be in this position. I'm glad that I didn't do anything that I will be sorry for. But that made us move out from our parents' house, from my husband's parents' home. And it was hard because you are very hateful at moments like this. You feel like when you're in such a fragile moment, maybe this is the right time to hug us and give us everything. But that was another lesson from God, to know that even when you think that you are in the worst position, it's all there for you to grow. So, of course, we realized that we definitely need each one of us some space from another. So we went to retreats, different retreats. But March 1st of 2024, we decided to break up. We understood that we can't handle it, and we need some space from each other. But I see only the good at it, because when you cannot be with someone and you fighting it, begging God while I'm laying in the caravan, fighting it not always gets you to where you need to get. Sometimes you need to be the surrendering side of the story, of letting go, of maybe just crying out loud on the ground completely. And I decided to move out. I went to an apartment on the beach to give me a place where I can feel whole and get some parasympathetic waves and wake up every morning and feel like I have something to be grateful for, except of course, being alive. Through therapy at the sessions, this is how it looked like. I was sitting with my therapist. Here I'm smiling, but believe me, I was crying and screaming, and all the edges of my problems came on this couch right there. For still going to that couch. It's 2 years now. And I started by telling you that with all this drama and me and Guy separating, I realized that I didn't have the courage to go back dancing. That the thing that this is the reason why I went to the music festival. This is what makes me happy and I'm doing the best, is dancing. So thanks to my therapist, I found a party and I went to, and I dressed like Captain America, and I realized how fun it is to dance and how much you can heal and treat while I'm dancing. And I think that this Purim 2 years ago, I got rid of all the anger. I got rid of everything that was sitting inside of me towards my husband, towards the Arabs, towards the world, towards Israel. I just took everything out, and I decided that I can't keep it in. So I went to another party, and actually to another one, because I had to make sure that I'm releasing everything. Because when we hold it inside, no matter what it is, anger at your husband, anger at your child, or just anger at God that He put me through this whole mess. And I think that then I was really open to realize that I have a community around me, and it's called the Nova community. And what they did for me, they hugged me like no one else could. Because when you're in a group and we all went through something together, and there is a mentoring program through the Nova community that can give me tools how to, how to stand in front of people, how to maybe share my story because it has to come out, how to be grateful, how to just share things that are bothering me, and maybe somebody else will feel the same and can resonate, and in this way we can make it work. We can make each other stronger and happier. So thanks to this mentoring program, and also this beautiful community days that you can see here, not just going to the therapist, not just going to the psychiatrist, being all together, doing stuff, laughing, dancing. On top of it, I think that, going back to Re'im was also a very difficult moment. I did go on March 8th. I went on my own back to Re'im for the very first time after the Nova happened in 2024. And throughout the time there, I realized that everything was erased, like everything was cleaned up. I felt like my story is being destroyed. And the Nova community, together with my therapist, really encouraged me to go back to Re'im and share my story. So, of course, today, the Nova site in Israel puts up so many the stories of each individual who was murdered at the Nova site, and I'm going there to share my story, to show what others went through there. So when people doing throughout this whole trip to Israel, it's not just going to be a memorial site. It's going to be the sound of all of those that are no longer with us. And I think that the biggest gratefulness I have is to our really heroes, the soldiers that till this day, so many of them gave away their life to protect us, to keep Israel as Israel, a safe place, to even groups from Australia to come all the way to Israel and visit. And I think that this is the best thing that happened to me from this time. I realize how gratefulness is the biggest key for healing. When you are grateful truly of what you have, but not only that, truly grateful for everything God puts you through, and to be in a real believing that it's all happening to you for a reason, because you can handle it. I think it put us halfway through. And yes, guys, at the end of May of 2024, me and Guy got back together, and I will stand up to show you, because this is the new edition. Wait, the camera is going up. There you go. So, so definitely excited. We went through so much, and we just also entered a new home. We like until 3 days before the end of September, we didn't had a house yet signed, like no lease. And even then, to know that to be in that idea and a feeling that God is with us, and to believe in it with all your heart. I think that that's what got us a house. Eventually, we signed a lease a day before we had to move, and everything worked out. So we are starting this new year with so many new things that are going on. So I would invite you all to dare to wonder. I thought I lost my wonder on October 7th, that I'm no longer the person I was, but actually I was reborn. And it's thanks to so many things that got me towards this day. And it's going back dancing and go to retreats and start therapy and going to couples therapist, right? To a good one that is not recommending us to get a divorce, right? Practice gratitude. And I think that through all of this, we as a community, as people, there's like no chance that I would let myself go down knowing that my grandma survived, but she survived. To know my parents are strong and they came to Israel in 91 with a 1-year-old. They didn't know Hebrew, they didn't know anything. It's just that, sometimes things happen to you in life and you just have to embrace them. As hard as they will be, I am grateful for the Nova because I was reborn. The person I was until October 6th wasn't serving me anymore. Not to me, not, I think, us as a society, the Jewish people or the Jewish allies. We need maybe a wake up call sometimes of how special we are. And maybe there is an idea of being the hated one and constantly showing up and saying, you can hate me until tomorrow. It's not gonna bother me. Get away from me. Thank you very much. I'm proud of being who I am. And I will try to do it as much as I can. I'm actually here today at the museum that is being opened for October 7th. I will be meeting a girl that we were saved together. She had 3 bullets that she got in her body, and we had a shared moment where I'm like holding her hand, thinking she's about to die, and she's looking at me like I'm her savior, giving her some nice words. And we will be meeting here at a new museum, and it's like, wow, there is a new museum for like such awful things that happen to our community and society. And I want you to know that I want you all to be strong and safe. And I really hope that each and one of you wake up in the morning and being grateful for Hashem, believe in you one more day, that you can make a difference, that you have a sense in this world. We all do. So thank you so very much for joining me for this talk. And I'm open for any question, please.
Thank you so much, Rita. That was amazing, very moving, and thank you for sharing that with
Thank
everyone.
you.
Yeah, I should mention the AJA group heard from you in person during our Israel trip, which was at the Nova site, which was a very special experience as well. And you're definitely an inspiration to everyone.
Thank you.
So thank you. We will go to some questions, but just before we do, I'll just ask you just a couple questions myself. First, you mentioned that you were robbed and that happened there, and I don't know if everyone caught it. So can you just speak a bit about who were these people? Were these the Gaza civilians, and what was going on there? And then the other
Sure.
question is also how can we support you, and how can we support Nova Festival survivors?
So yes, around 11:30 a.m., there was a Gazan that was wearing a blue jacket, and I thought this is police jacket that he might took from one of the police officers or on the way. And he just said, money, money, telephone, telephone, just took our stuff. We threw everything at him. He wished us a good day in Hebrew, and he left. That was odd, very odd. He didn't have a weapon. He didn't have all the equipment of a soldier. He was just a regular civilian. I think he was even in his closer to his 60s. He wasn't young. Um, but hey, he left us alone. He wished us a good day. At this moment, I was sure I will be dragged from my hair out of this caravan very, very soon, So I'm glad it didn't happen. And your second question, that was about this.
How can we support you and how can we support
Right.
the Nova survivors?
I think, the main support is to go out there and try to share as much as you can the story and explain people that don't get it yet, that it's not about Jews anymore. It's about just understanding what is right and wrong and entering somebody's home, no matter where you are in the world, or a festival, and just start shooting people and killing them. I think we all know, even we see it in America, that when a massive shooter goes to a school or to anywhere, or Charlie Kirk being dead in the middle of the, assassin, it's not good, period. It's like, it's not a matter of why, if you are suppressed or you are, it's just not right. And I think the world, that was scary for me the most, for us as people who goes to the festivals. We love happiness and joyfulness and going dancing, and then we see that so many festivals are being canceled because they are organized by Jews, or Jews afraid Israelis to go to festivals because they have some type of propaganda against us starting together and trying to give us like wrong food or put something in the drinks. Scary. And I think that this is the way, first, to, of course, talk about it. For me personally, I am actually working on taking out a documentary movie very soon that is being worked on. I will send the trailer, and then if you can send it in the group, or maybe send the link and you can show it in the end. I think it's very important to help me maybe spread the rumor. I have a trailer that just came out, so if you can share it and send it, I think that will be the best support for us to keep putting it in their ears and for them to see the right way to live it, and send hugs. That's it.
Definitely. Thank you. We'll go now to Dr. David Adler for a question.
Rita, thank you so much for sharing such intimate details of your story. It sheds a new light on things. I was at the Nova site in March of this cousin and her fiance,
Wow.
Eliran, were in one of the yellow dumpster bins that you mentioned. In fact, the yellow dumpster exhibit there, the back wall, is essentially their story. So is there any observations that you can add to what happened with the yellow dumpsters, what happened to the people who were sheltering in there? What did you notice?
The people that went to hide in the dumpsters or all around was people that were in the back of the party trying to be treated, okay? Wounded people, just people who tried, like me, right in the beginning. And then we saw the wounded girls, but so many people stayed there. My husband decided to pull us and we ran away. When the first terrorist got in, 6 terrorists dressed like soldiers with machine guns, you need to understand there were hundreds of people at the back side. So they started running. Some went straight into the dumpsters to hide under the bags. And And there was in the front of the dumpster a guy named David Neeman, may he rest in peace. Him and his girlfriend were hiding inside, and he was standing on the outside trying to kind of like navigate. You know, you don't know the terrorists will come and just spray you to death. So unfortunately, him wanting to help and, you know, give some information to family or people from the army, he was murdered. And then the terrorists went into the dumpsters and started shooting just right and left, like whatever is going to happen, going to happen. Now, Magal, the one I'm meeting today, and I told you we will be speaking here at the opening of the museum, she was in the dumpster when I
And
met her
survived. Wow.
and survived 4 bullets. Her, I know another girl named Noam that her boyfriend was standing in the front, and she was shot in her butt with 1 bullet. You need to understand, it's crazy. The dumpsters, it was like there wasn't really a choice of if you're staying alive or you die. It's just if you had maybe enough garbage bags on top of you, and they just, you know, they just spread everywhere. They went everywhere. That's why it's so crazy that we stayed alive, because to the left of our caravan, they shot the RPG at the ambulance and they murdered 18 people alive inside a burning ambulance. So what is the reason that certain people were hiding in certain places and managed to stay alive? And some people, right, you know, head next to head, one stayed alive, one was murdered. It's awful because the dumpster was one of the most deadly places at the Nova Music Festival, and the small bar where we all seen videos of them going around, and so many people died there. So unfortunately, I didn't know your family, you know, by myself, but there is no chance I'm at the Nova site and I'm not bringing people to the dumpster and explaining the story and asking them to go in and read and give some look at people at the eyes. I think this is what I'm asking at the Nova site, for people to give that moment to see those beautiful, beautiful people. I'm sorry, David, that it happened to you and your family.
We've got a question from Anne. He wants to ask about what do you think when you see all this anti-Semitism around the world and pro-Hamas demonstrations in Melbourne and different things like that? How does that, as a survivor, what do you think about that? It's crazy.
That's the hardest, really. It's so aggravating. And I understood it's not my fight. You know, there is a lot of propaganda that me as myself, I'm not gonna go and stand in front of it. And you know, my therapist taught me something. I'm very like outgoing. I'm going, if you do something wrong, I'll tell you in your face, you're wrong. Hey, why are you driving like this? Why are you doing like this? Okay, very Israeli and Russian and from Ashdod. All of the above of you trying to be a survivor from the day you are born, basically. Language, or because I was the shortest one in school. But I realized that it's me to protect. And I can't keep looking at it because it's so aggravating. I can just really feel bad for the people who are not even Arabs, who are not even understanding in the conflict, and going out there and putting all these kafiyas and putting themselves alongside of black, like how black wins white, how a flag that is all, you know, you see the Israeli army standing, beautiful men, you know, showing some protection and some like I feel safe when I look at Israeli soldiers or the Jewish flag. When I look at the Hamas, I'm like, oh my God, it's so black and disgusting and so scary. And it's like the wrong side of the society. And I see just Australians or just Americans who could be my neighbor and who I could go to coffee with resonating with this. It's not easy at all. It's aggravating, but I believe in our community. I really believe that eventually good wins. And I know a lot of them on all this propaganda are being paid. I know that Qatar and all these crazy Muslim people have been working on it for years. It's not just like this. Come on. Since Hitler, even from before, they've been working on it, that we are the wrong side of the story, but we win each time. And I know it's hard. But that's the reality. And you know what? Let them waste the time standing on the streets and burn some, materials, and let them show up outside and show how crazy they are. It's like, oh my God, it's like really, eventually a real person, Australian, American, Indian, doesn't matter, will stand from the side and he will see who goes out in rage and who is peaceful. And I hope that way we will, give them to choose maybe better.
I think we've got time for just one more question. We've got Kathy, who was actually on the AJA Israel trip and heard you speak there. So we'll have a question from Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, it's lovely to see you, Rita. Yeah. Simple, well, may not be so simple question, but of they believe that 20 of the hostages in Gaza are still alive. Are some of them, yes, but waiting for them, but are some of those, were they taken from the Nova site?
Yes. We still have Elkanah, and we have Noah Gamani, her boyfriend, Avinatan. There is few, of course, that are still, that were at the party, or bartenders, or someone who worked at the party. There was one guy that was with the security team. So there is, and there was many more. They were murdered, while they being in captivity. I know it's crazy. It's crazy that we have hopefully a deal like around the corner, and we need to do deal with terrorists, and we need to give away so many terrorists, like we don't have death punishment, that they can still bargain with us throughout all of it. This is really sickening to my stomach. And let's hope, I really hope that this Simchas Torah will be on the right side, and that they are already coming back. And I've seen a video of a mother from back in the day, from like the 70s, that both of her sons, one son was killed in the army in one of the wars, and her second son was in captivity. Okay. And the Hamas was asking for X amount of terrorists for her one son. And she said it as a mother, she's saying, knowing I have one son buried that I cannot retrieve, but for my only son, she said, the Jewish life, we pray for them so much. We appreciate our life so much. Take your terrorists, take them and handle them. We don't need them here. Take all of them back into your, tunnels. And thank you very much. We will not pay taxes for them to have a place to sleep at night, right? It's totally fine. So we are praying for it every day. Imagine I'm going to, the Nova Music Festival to give tours, and 4 kilometers away from me, while I'm speaking about continuing life and being hopefulness and all of it, 4 kilometers away, I have people, I could have been there. I could have been one of these hostages, and I really hope that that's it, that we finally reach to a point where we are done. Amen. Amen. This year will be different. Yes.
Well, on that note, Rita, I want to thank you again so much for sharing your
Thank you so
story
much.
and sharing your time with us. It was very inspirational. And we hope to, you've got your movie coming out. We hope AJA can do a screening in Australia. Would be really good.
That will be
Yeah.
amazing. Yes, I will send the links to Neil, and then if you can share it with all the community, I actually can send it in the chat, right?
Yeah, definitely. Send it in the chat. Everyone will have a look. I can see from everyone's reactions that
And then
everyone
maybe you can screen it here before everybody leaves. There we are. I'll do in the chat, message everyone. This is the Cry project, and this is the official trailer. And I do have a lot of beautiful organizations, as well as AJA guys that really want to help and spread the rumor. So if you think about any collaborations that can work, except of screening, please feel free to contact me and follow me on Instagram, Wonder Rita, and hopefully I got a little bit of a smile on your face of all of you in Australia, and for you to know that is extremely important that you take the time and you sit on a call and you listen to me. Really, it's like, wow, thank you very much. You are part of my healing journey, 100%, each and one of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you again, Rita. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for joining us. And we wish you all a good night and a great year.
Shalom. תודה רבה. ביי.